Everything is going according to plan as the Flames lose 6 in a row. ArmChair GM podcast. Let's get into it.
Well, everybody's been clamoring for a rebuild, Chris, and it might not be how they planned it, but it's looking like it's more and more possible each day, each loss, or at the very least, maybe trying to bottom out for a year or two, get some good picks and good prospects. Hopefully, see how that goes.
Yep. I tell you, given we didn't make the playoffs last year, made next to no moves in the offseason other than trading Toffoli away. I wasn't fully expecting great things. I thought they would potentially compete more than they have been. The offense is pretty much just dried up.
Yeah.
Nobody's clicking together. No line is looking like they belong in the NHL long term. It's
Except
been
for
a
that Backlund Coleman line, but that's also like all of their advanced analytics are great, which is what everybody seems to love, but like they can't finish to save their lives, and that's what we need is some players to finish.
where they I mean they've had some good stretches.
Yeah.
I mean I thought they were pretty invisible against Dallas.
Well, they weren't playing together against Dallas because Mangiapane was on the top line against Dallas.
Who would have thought that Mangiapane is the reason the line clicks?
Well, I think that what it is, Chris, is it makes it look like Mangiapane's doing a lot of something different when he's on that line. When he's not, it's just Backlund and Coleman are more likely to be on the boards helping him, so they win the puck battles that he would lose when he's on any other line.
Sure.
Because they're there, whereas nobody else on any other line seems to want to help out.
No, there's it looks like there's 3 or 4 lines every game that just they have no heart. There's no emotion. There's no give a shit.
There's
They're
no
just
net driving. There's no
yeah. They're just going through the paces, right?
yeah
So obviously it was refreshing against Dallas to see Connor Zary, finally get his chance to show the organization what he's got.
yeah.
Drives the net, nice little goal, which is exactly what people have been clamoring about for years. Just
Well,
nobody drives the net anymore. Like there's
that's
just
the yeah. That's the whole thing. Is like I was thinking back to when I played hockey when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old. Get to the front of the net. Like they told 5, 6, 7 year olds to get to the front of the net because that's where the rebound. And the Flames aren't doing that. It's like the main reason we got Nazem Kadri was because he was supposed to be a net front presence, a guy who went to the front and caused shit and gave opposing players fits with his peskiness or whatever, and we're seeing none of that. But the thing is it shouldn't be just one player doing that. It should be like out of 12 forwards, it should be there. There should be at least 9 of them that do that on a regular basis.
yeah. Yeah, you should have 1 to 2 players with the ability to do that on every line,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's I don't know, man. It's been frustrating to watch. Um, I don't mind losing games if you lose games, but to just they just trot out there and don't there's just no effort. There appears to be no effort.
I think the management and hopefully ownership is starting to realize that fans are getting upset with exactly what you just said. losing with no upside to losing. Like at least if at least if Zari was there all the time, and if Peltier was in, and if Klafko was up, and if Poirier was up, and if Wolf was playing, there'd be a bunch of things to watch for, right? But right now we just
Mhm.
have Zari being the only player who was even slightly entertaining to watch the other day against Dallas. And he was very
Yeah.
entertaining, and he did those meat and potatoes things, those drive the net, his second or third shift, he drove the net and he got a goal because of it. He, you know, Kadri did that thing where he floated a weak wrist shot at the net and for no fucking reason, and Zari just happened to be there to finish it off, right? Like that's what you
Well,
need.
that's just it. I mean, we're known for our perimeter shots to the chest or to the pads.
Yeah,
So having somebody in front of the net to pick up that rebound is obviously going to be key in that situation.
yeah.
So if you have guys like Kadri that are just lazy with their shot, then yeah, you got to have somebody there, or else it's gonna be scooped up every time. And if the
Yeah.
goalie doesn't wrap it up, then obviously it's coming off their pads, and the opposing team's defense is just gonna grab it because that's where they are, and they'll come out of their
That's
zone
how it
and
works
away they go.
in theory, unless you're the Flames, and then your defense is changing, I guess.
Mm. What did you think of that play with Anderson?
He's like, "Can I get some fucking help around here, please?"
Mm.
But yeah, that whole situation was a mess. Bad
That
change, bad decision by pretty much everybody who was on the bench and Anderson, and uh, goal.
that was pro- that was probably the laziest play I've ever seen an NHL player play. After sitting out 4 games for the hit there
Yeah,
against Line, and
yeah,
he comes back with that kind of effort. That is absolutely disgusting. And he's supposed to be one of our leaders.
yeah.
That was bullshit. I
I
could
do
not
think that he
believe when
had
I
a
watched that.
generally a pretty good game, but that was inexcusable. That
It
one
was
play was
yeah,
inexcusable.
100%. It was inexcusable.
Yeah. Um,
Like, I mean, at first I was yelling at the TV because of Markstrom, but then once you look at it, obviously Markstrom didn't have a play because it wasn't coming out into a playable area yet, so he had to back off and get back, right?
yeah.
But just the way, I mean, like the way Anderson lost the puck and then just lazily got back. There was no effort to get back into that play at all.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was blown
Frustrating
away,
to watch,
and the
man.
more I thought about it, given that he lost or missed those 4 games, I just thought just
Thought you'd
garbage.
have more of a effort, or like you said, like if more of a give a shit
Yeah.
after
Hey,
letting your team down like
sorry
that.
I missed. Yeah, sorry I missed 4 games for doing something stupid. Let me make it up to the team. But no.
No.
Yeah, that was just horrendous, man. I couldn't believe it.
Uyghur had a good game though,
He did.
statistically, and he popped. He had one of his games where he does that. Like every once in a while, he has one of those games, right, where he's all
Mhm.
over it, and he gave a shit. He tried both ends of the ice pretty consistently, and I know you and Ian did a show right after the Heritage Classic, but I just wanted to put out there too, like the way Uyghur defended McDavid and was still able to like play a little bit at the other end of the ice while still keeping an eye on McDavid was actually quite impressive.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, he actually he did fairly well, and I would say to me it's clear that McDavid is still not 100%.
Oh no, no way. He probably
Um,
shouldn't have played that game.
no, no, I think there was just because of what the game was the only reason why he was there.
100%.
Yeah, it was
Kind of like
because
the only
yeah,
reason the suspension was 4 games is because that was that game.
maybe, but then then there was that suspension that just happened.
We should
So
talk about that actually. Um, Charlie McAvoy.
That's what it was.
Yeah. And I didn't think that that hit was nearly as bad as Anderson's, but it's good to see that they've at least for the first two suspensions of that kind um, for the season, they're putting their foot down and they're saying, stop targeting people's head. This is 4 games now. Hopefully, they
Yeah.
continue to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the 4 was extreme for Anderson, but if they're going to make it the standard, then fine. I'm fine with it.
As long as it continues to be that standard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, nobody's above the law for that, right? If you're gonna make 4 games the thing for hitting heads, then 4 games it is.
I was surprised that McAvoy's was 4 games just because um, he didn't jump at the guy's head, um, whereas Anderson did kind of jump at the guy's head. But I'm glad that they didn't take into consideration, that the game was almost over, or that the game wasn't almost over for McAvoy. Because to me, that type of shit doesn't matter. A dirty play is a dirty play. It doesn't fucking matter what time of the game it is, or who the player is, or if the player's injury prone, or whatever. A dirty play is a dirty play. Fucking period.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I was surprised. I honestly thought, he would get maybe 1 or 2, but that's just kind of my thought on the on the NHL as far as handing out suspensions and
What,
and punishment for whatever.
Anderson or McAvoy?
Both.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any other year, I think it would have been, but
Mm.
I'm hope like we've said, I'm hoping that they've um raised the standard because honestly, if something's a dirty play, like here have 1 day off isn't really a punishment to me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
here's
Or,
here's your maintenance day.
yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, the $5,000, like I know that the NHLPA is the reason why the fines only go up to $5,000, but for me it's like $5,000 is like 20 cents for, if I did something bad, I would get charged 20 cents. Like,
Mhm.
you know, it's not going to stop me from doing it next time, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The NFL season is going strong, and DraftKings Sportsbook is hooking new customers up with an offer that's even stronger. Bet $5 on any game this week and score $200 instantly in bonus bets. And DraftKings isn't stopping there. All customers can take advantage of a sweetener offer every game day this November. Get in on the game day greatness. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. New customers can score $200 instantly in bonus bets when you bet 5 on the NFL. That's code THPN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, licensee partner Golden Nugget Lake Charles, LA. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football terms for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. So
yeah.
what else in that Dallas game did you notice? Did you see? Did you anything you saw that
So I
was
did
that was
notice that,
good?
and he wasn't good. Kadri wasn't good, but I noticed that he had a fire lit under his ass a little bit. He was trying a lot harder, but he wasn't good. I heard a lot of media people talking about how great he was that game and how that was his best game. And I'm like, well, bar is pretty fucking low, so yeah, that was his good game, his best game probably, but that doesn't mean it was good because it straight up wasn't.
Yeah.
Um, but um, it's good that he seemed to care that game. And Mangiapane, I noticed as well, doing that thing that he always does. He scored, so nobody noticed. But after he scored, I don't know if you noticed, but I noticed him falling over more than he has at all this year after he scored that goal. Like at least 4 or 5 times in the next couple periods, I saw him just falling over and losing puck battles, and like he straight up blew a tire and caused a odd man break the other way. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I was on the Hockey Podcast Network's live last night, and so that I ended up missing a bit of it, because we got it talking about situations and different things, and
yeah. You
you
guys
look
had
up.
some pretty interesting airport chats.
Yeah, there was some yeah, there were some conversations that just, I don't know if it was hockey related or not.
Yeah, guys were having fun though, so that's all that
Yeah, it
matters.
was good. Yeah, it was fun. Mm.
Um, I don't know. Did you notice anything else in that game? Like,
Um, I saw a lot of well, I saw that a lot of people were invisible. There's a lot of people I didn't notice
yeah,
at all. Um, but that's been kind of the trend as far as this team's been this year. Mm.
yeah.
We
No, one hundred
one
percent.
one we once again were dominant in the face-offs, which is great. Backlund was at 66.7. Good to see. Lindholm with
Especially
one of his
against that team, they have strong centers,
yeah, yeah.
and they have
Lindholm
wingers that can win
was
faceoffs too, like Ben and Pavelski.
it's true. Yeah, Lindholm was actually the worst of the three with 50%. So
Well, that's great.
mm. And
Um,
who was playing center on the fourth? Was it Coronado?
yeah,
Yeah, okay, never mind. He was at 20%. But but I mean that's not really a natural spot for him. I mean it is, but it isn't.
yeah. Actually, we should get into that. Do you think you know is it worth having him on the fourth line, or would it be better for him to be replacing Zary on the top line in the AHL for a week or two or something like that, or even just to sit down for a game or two and watch like not because I think he deserves to sit down. Like I don't think he's been great lately, but I also don't think he's been bad enough in comparison to the rest of the team to be a healthy scratch. But I do think that um, I was listening to the radio today and they were saying Harvard has played 2 games this year, right?
Right.
So that would be the schedule that he would be used to. So this is probably a fucking lot for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I've said that a few times so far this year that, based on a typical college schedule, this is way too much for him to
Yeah.
start with. Um, and it's kind of a test, right? We'll see how he adjusts to that type of schedule, come December, see what kind of speed he still has. If he has any sort of jump, you'll start to notice lazy plays, I suppose, if he's not truly ready for it.
Mhm.
Um,
I haven't
so
noticed
I
lazy plays from him.
no,
In
no,
fact, he's
not
one of the
yet.
only guys I haven't noticed lazy plays from.
Yeah, no, and I agree. That's not where he's at yet, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I think come December, if he's starting to wear out a bit because of the schedule, then you'll start to see laziness with a lot of hooks and grabs, holds, and things like that,
Yeah.
where now he seems to be able to avoid it for the most part.
Has he taken a minor yet?
Yes, I think he's had a couple.
Okay.
Um, I'm pretty sure he's had a couple.
I think I remember one, but
Let's
while
see.
you're looking that up, I'll just say I think like he has played center before a little bit. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't think that centering Greer, like, don't get me wrong, Greer's been good, but I don't think that that is where you want this guy who's supposed to be a natural goal scorer.
Yeah.
Um, I would almost, and I don't want to see him again demoted to the AHL um, just because he's bad or anything like that. I think that confidence wise, it might be good for him to get some um a couple games against a little bit lesser competition with a lot more minutes and find the scoring touch and then come back. Like, and I don't want him to be down there for a long time. I just think maybe 2, 3 games type of thing, get him back up.
Yeah. Yeah. I do kind of agree with that. Everybody kind of, for the most part, will benefit from playing those minutes and whatnot. But that's kind of where I'm thinking that with the schedule that he's used to, that adding more ice time to it may not be a good idea.
Yeah. Well,
But
also, I think generally speaking, the AHL, I don't know what their schedule is looking like next week, but I know that a lot of the time they'll have like a week off and then have like back to back games and then have a week off type of thing. Um,
mhm,
they play
yeah,
more condensed than the NHL does, but they have more time off in between the condensed games. If you know what I mean, it's that came out weird, but I think you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah,
And they have series too, right? So they'll often play 2 or 3 games against the same team in the same place, so they're not traveling as much too.
yeah. Um, they've got Friday and Sunday they play against San Jose.
Yeah,
I mean, that might be a good spot to put him, I guess. Really, Friday, Saturday against San Jose, because I mean, the Flames' schedule has been weird and slow, anyways, right? I
yeah,
mean, we do play on Saturday against Seattle, but I mean, if he misses Saturday, he misses Saturday, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's not a bad idea because then the Wranglers don't play again until next Friday, the 10th,
yeah.
against San Diego. So,
And for me, like, it's not like I would be upset if he didn't get sent down or whatever. Like, it's more of an idea because
mhm,
again, he hasn't been lazy or bad or anything like that. It's just an idea because he doesn't seem as confident as he did the first couple games.
yeah, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
And
yeah,
hockey,
that's
a
true.
lot of hockey is in the head, right? So
A lot of hockey is in the head, indeed. The and as you can kind of see it with more than half the team right now, they don't look confident. They don't look happy. I guess they look how the fans feel, maybe. So,
which is unfortunate. And like I know, Zadorov and Lindholm and all of them have said things recently like, yeah, I'd boo too, or no, I want to apologize to the fans or whatever it is that they've been saying, right? There's
mm,
been quite a few things like that, and you know, Kadri's been saying a bunch of stuff about how they're close and games could have gone their way and stuff like and to me it's like, okay, just like fucking stop it and just actually prove that you want to play because all of these players are saying things and then they're not backing it up whatsoever when they step on the
yeah,
ice, like at all. Even
yeah.
Zadorov, like he's gone out of his way to make some big hits and stuff like that, but he was atrocious against Dallas, I thought.
Zara,
Yeah.
he didn't play.
or sorry, against Edmonton. He wasn't
Edmonton.
very good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I wonder what's going on with his family. But
Yeah, it kind of was all of a sudden too, right? So, hopefully it's nothing serious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
No,
wasn't sure.
I did
Did he?
know that he didn't play. Obviously,
Yeah. Like,
Osterley went
wait a
on
minute.
waivers though, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we finally made a move to shake up the team, right?
Yeah, I know. Like Elliot Friedman had a reported something along the lines of the Flames are going to put a veteran on waivers to shake up the room, and then the next day it came out that Osterley went on waivers, and I like actually burst out laughing. I'm like, yeah, that's going to shake up the room. That's
Yeah.
proving a point. Put the seventh defenseman on waivers.
Yeah.
Like that happens. Probably five teams do that every day.
Right. The that's 100%. The yeah, when I saw that, I just went like, but why?
Yeah,
That just doesn't make sense.
yeah,
It wa- I just saw something on Twitter that I think you'll enjoy.
yeah. Throw it up.
It's the Alberta teams.
This just a couple of clowns fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the score of the Edmonton game? I think it was 3-2 last time I looked at it. I'm like, oh, this is that outdoor game was a real jump off point to them probably losing, but
Yeah. Yeah, it was what was it? I think it was final already, right?
it's probably final by now.
Yeah, 4-3.
Yeah, that's
The
funny.
Alberta the Alberta Bottom Bowl going on in the NHL these days.
You know what does scare me though is like Dallas, or sorry, not Dallas. San Jose hasn't even won a game yet. We have, we're lower in the standings than Edmonton, even though I think they have the same amount of points as us. Actually, no, we should be completely tied now because they've played the same amount of games as us now. I think.
Are they?
I
Um,
think I could be wrong on that, but either way, like that if this continues, and it won't, but that if this continues for the rest of the season, and
mhm.
Calgary and Edmonton are both bad, and San Jose is bad, and whoever else is bad, Edmonton's gonna win the draft lottery because that's just what they do.
That is what they do, but with the announcement of the new arena, potentially things might sway a little more in the Flames' favor,
The
right? Because
the
they
lottery
do like
balls might fall,
yeah,
might be weighted or
right?
something.
Because they have to have something to pump up, 4 years from now when they open it up, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you just never know. That's my conspiracy theory for today.
yeah. Um, I don't know if I mean, I know you're joking a little bit, but I don't know if you actually subscribe to the lottery being rigged or whatever, but I don't. Um
Mm.
I know that David Amber, ruined the surprise live on TV, but like the lottery gets done before the TV gets done, right? Like
Yeah,
but
perhaps they shouldn't do that. Why do
I
they do
agree
that?
with that. They should do it live on TV, but
Yeah,
I don't think that they rifled through them and went and got a Chicago one just because you know I don't think that happens.
right. No, I don't think it happens either. But I mean, I think leading up to that, most people thought it was live, right? Because they tell you it's live.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like they don't tell you the lottery is live. They tell you the TV broadcast is live, which it is, right?
Sure.
And that's a joke. They
Yeah.
twist their own words to make it sound better.
Yeah. No, I think it should be live. And then
No, I
there's
agree with
no
you.
it gets rid of the any sort of, conspiracy or argument, right?
Didn't it used to be live? Like a few years back,
Yes.
it was live. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know when they changed it. I
or
honestly thought
why?
it was still live up until that till until David screwed it up for everybody.
Yeah,
I think the NHL kind of worried a bit on that, right? Because it was always live up until whatever point, I guess, when it wasn't. I don't know when that was. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Maybe they started doing it that way when COVID started or whatever.
yeah, that's kind of what I think, but I don't really know, right? Anyways,
Yeah, yeah, speculation.
oh, 100%. Um, again, the draft lottery not being rigged is also just speculation. It very well could be. I don't know. I just don't think so.
Yeah,
Um. Anyways, that's a whole lot of interesting Flames talk.
right. It may be too early to start decorating for the holidays, but it's never too early to start your holiday shopping. Why not take care of it now before the crowds and the packed calendars make shopping a total nightmare? Especially when you can get some of the best deals of the season well before Black Friday. You can shop Raycon products right now and save up to 50% because their early Black Friday sale is going on now. You've heard me talk about Raycon products before in the past. Raycon first made a name for themselves in the audio space with their products like their everyday earbuds, known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features like a 32-hour battery life and a perfect in ear fit for all day wear and lasting comfort. And for the past year, they've expanded their entire business with the introduction of Raycon Home and Raycon PowerTech. Their 5-star reviewed Magic 180 cables allows you to charge iOS, micro USB, and Type-C devices 8 times faster with 100-watt power delivery. Their faucet filter ultra filters the water in your tap against chlorine and heavy metals. It's a must-have for ensuring the water you use to wash your face and brush your teeth is, you know, actually clean. Raycon is known for delivering high quality and thoughtful features at half the price at other premium tech brands. It's no wonder their products have racked up tens of thousands of 5-star reviews. To get everyone in the holiday shopping spirit early, Raycon is currently offering 20% off everything on their site, with select products up to 50% off. So beat the crowds and save now. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Is Raycon's early Black Friday sale. Hurry now to buyraycon.com/THPN to get 20 to 50% off store wide. That's buyraycon.com/THPN to score up to 50% off Raycon products. Buyraycon.com/THPN. That's
So they're not. They stopped all of the contract talks with all of the pending UFAs. Apparently
thank
paused it all,
thank
which is
God.
good because
Yeah.
um, as much as I like Tanev, as much as I like Lindholm, as you know, I wouldn't hate if they re-signs Zadorov, like Hannafin's there, whatever. Like as much as I like some of those players, or like I would not be crushed if any of them left. If we got a good
No,
haul for them, I think that's the direction the team should be taking. Is
100%.
even if it's not a rebuild, like look at Dallas for instance. Dallas had Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin. Tyler Seguin was making the most money in the league for several years, for a couple years at least. Um,
Yeah.
and both of them, like, because Tyler Seguin had come off of the same hip surgery that Monahan had, so he wasn't producing, and Ben was terrible for a few couple years there, and but they didn't trade those two, and those are two albatross contracts. But then they committed to being bad for a couple years, and given they got you know Ottinger, Hintz, and uh, Heiskanen all in the same draft class, which is absurd. But
Yeah.
you know,
It's
what I'm trying
absurd.
to say is it's possible to have Jonathan Huberdeau and Nazem Kadri and just have them be bad, have the team be bad for 2, 3 years and then come out of it and be competitive. Like the
Mhm.
Stars are like a legitimate Stanley Cup threat, right? And they still
Yeah.
have the long term bad, quote unquote, bad contracts that have been rejuvenated by young players.
Yeah. Well, and you also still need some leadership in the organization, right?
Yeah.
You can't all just be 22-year-olds and draft picks that are playing for your team.
Yeah.
You gotta have the veterans, and you also need to hit the cap floor.
Yeah.
So, and you
And
need contracts.
look at the Ducks, right? They've got Cam Fowler, they've got Adam Henrique, they've got these.
Mhm.
You need to have a couple of older players to help the young players learn the league and get comfortable and be leaders, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
now, I would probably prefer, even though he makes more money, I would probably prefer to um, keep Huberto and Backlund, let's say maybe, but get rid of Kadri if we could. I'm not sure if there's a way that's logical at this point. I know that his in a couple years, in a year or two, his buyout structure does not look nearly as bad as you'd think it is.
Hmm.
We would actually save quite a bit of money for a couple years and then not have to pay all that much money. I think it's only $2 million for a couple years if we wait. Um, if we wait a couple years, so I would because I don't consider him a leader, and I don't consider him. I don't want his attitude around the team. I don't want his lack of accountability around our young players. I don't want
Yeah.
his saying shit and not backing it up, and I don't want his lazy on ice play. Like I don't think he's a good example setter.
No, he's not. He's not who you want to model your team around. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Especially if you're going to bring in some young guys to get them to get them up to speed in the NHL. Those the cadres are not who you want to be forming those kids with lazy habits and boneheaded plays or whatever the hell, right?
100%. And also,
And
like he's he had his career year with McKinnon and Landeskog and Rantanen and Eric Johnson and all those guys. Whenever he started playing like Kadri,
mhm,
they would shake him and tell him to snap out of it and quit it. And because they had good leadership, I'm not so sure. Now we had all those. We've had many conversations about who should be captain in Calgary, and I'm not entirely sure any of these guys are captain quality now
no,
in
no,
hindsight.
I don't think Backlund has shown much at all to show that he's the captain of this team.
He
I think he
hasn't.
showed more leadership last year than he has so far this year, being with the C on his chest.
I agree, and I wonder if he's struggling with what he's supposed to do. Um, I'm not gonna shit all over him yet because he's a fresh captain, and maybe he needs a little bit of time to figure out exactly what he's supposed to do or exactly his style of captaining a team is, because
Mhm.
there's different styles of captaining a team, right? Um,
Yeah,
so who
yeah,
knows?
no, exactly. The I mean, for him to if he needs to figure it out at his age and the fact that he's been one of the actual leaders for well for quite a while.
Yeah,
I mean, then I would say then he shouldn't have been selected as the leader to begin with,
yeah.
personally. But I mean, whatever, right? I mean, the whole team just looks disinterested, anyways.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not him. It's not
But
any one player. It's all.
to me,
Uh, yeah,
that's what a captain is for,
yeah.
right? To
I
me,
agree.
at
I get him
3
motivated.
games in, as much as I don't like Mark Giordano was a great off ice captain, I'm not so sure how great of a captain he was on ice, other than being okay to block shots and all that type of thing. But I still
Mm.
think he would have stood up after those first couple games of the season and put his foot down and like fucking tore the team a new asshole until like. And I just don't think back like maybe he has, but I don't think Backlund has done anything like that, and I think it's desperately needed.
Something something is desperately needed, right?
You know,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think there is a single player that's on the team that should feel
safe.
um that feels like they held up their end of the bargain, and I don't think there's anybody on the team that should feel that they are not tradable, right? I mean, you look at the list of contracts that we have to sign before the end of this year if we keep them. So I mean, we've got 4 UFAs that are going to be, um, I think, heading out of here, personally.
Yeah. At the beginning of the season, I thought Lindholm was going to resign, and I wanted him to. I don't think he will now, and I don't want him to now, and I don't want Tanev to resign. I don't want. I mean, I might be okay with Tanev resigning, but I think he's again worth more to us on the trade market if he's healthy around the trade deadline. Like
Yeah,
Lindholm is 1 or 2 first round picks to me.
I think so.
Hannafin is 1.
One in a prospect, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that I'm just kind of counting the picks, not even the
I
prospects. You
assume so.
you get a package for all these guys, right? Hannafin's at least 1 first round pick and prospects. Um,
Yeah, I think you could
Tanev is
find.
probably a late first round pick as well.
I
Zadorov's
think that
probably a second. Like
I think you could pull a first and potentially a second out of a Hannafin deal.
I do too, especially if you hold half of his like. And that's the beauty of having all these guys at the end of their contracts is that you can hold half of their money and not have to worry about it, right? Because it's you and then you get you get more value out of it because the acquiring team has now a $2.5 million AAV player instead of a 5 million AAV player, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think going into the 2024 draft, I want to have at the very least 3 first round picks.
I do too, but I also would like to see them spread it out if they can, instead of trying to get all of the picks for one draft. Um, maybe try to get 1 or 2 for this upcoming draft, and then try and get 1 or 2 for the next draft.
Right. Yeah,
Because
I
otherwise,
mean,
you sign all these guys to their entry level deals, and then they're all up at the same time, and then you have to pay them all at the same time. In
yeah,
theory,
no, yeah, no, that's very true. But I mean, next year you could also use guys that are coming off their contracts, like Mangiapane and Sharon Govich and stuff like that. I'm not saying those guys are getting you a first, but I think you can start doing that sort of thing as well as utilizing a couple of firsts to potentially move up to second, third pick in next year's draft.
yeah,
Because as it is right now, even if we are getting first round picks from people, we're going to be getting a somewhere between a 20 to 30 round or 30
overall
pick,
pick.
right?
Yeah.
The overall pick in that
In
draft. So
theory, you're right for most of them, but I do think that there's some teams out there who aren't very good, but they also don't want to be bad.
right.
For instance, Columbus and Arizona, for instance, those guys, those teams like Arizona could use a Hannafin, and Columbus could use a Lindholm, let's say. And they're both, even with those players, still probably going to be, you know, 8th to 15th overall.
Yeah, and like Arizona has a boatload of second and third round picks over the next 3 years.
Yeah,
But I mean, they do still have all their first rounds as well. But I mean, like this next draft coming up at the end of this season, they have 3 seconds and 3 thirds. The year after that, they have 4 seconds and 2 thirds. Sorry,
yeah.
and 3 seconds and 2 thirds. So I mean, they'd be a potential good trade partner if you can snake a first and a second for say a Hannafin.
Yeah.
Then that'll.
And then
I
you are
mean,
still, I mean, Arizona could make the playoffs, but I
right,
still think that even if they make the playoffs, they're still going to be like 16th or 17th overall pick, which is still much better than 25th, right?
right.
So, in theory, for when you're trading guys as rentals, then yes, you're probably getting, like you said, 20th to 32nd overall. But
Mhm.
like Columbus legitimately needs to not have Boone Jenner on their first line. I love Boone Jenner, but I'm sure they'd love to have Lindholm, and they'd love to have Lindholm long term. So they might be willing, especially since they have so many prospects in their system, they might be willing to um, give away their, what may end up being 8th to 12th overall or something like that, or cut out the middleman. They've been scratching Kent Johnson. That guy has a ton of skill. He's a top end pick. I would
Yeah,
uh, no Kent Johnson in the second. I'd do that for Lindholm. That kid is good, very good. You know, you don't have to go after picks if you get like an actual high end prospect that's already NHL level.
yeah. I mean, that would be okay as well, right?
Yeah.
I uh, I think obviously what happens this year, it will be what Craig Conroy is going to be judged by for the next 5 years
I agree,
because
and
he's
and I think that it's a little bit tough to be judging Conroy now. I mean, he's going to spend the next 5 years fixing Tree Living's bullshit anyway. But
yeah.
especially this last summer, like it's hard to. I still don't think he was the right guy for the job, but I'm not ready to shit on him quite yet because I don't think that the being the GM is just a 1 year job, right? Like you don't.
Mm,
I think we talked about this last time we had an episode, even, but like you look at Tampa Bay, Steve Eiserman built that team and then
mm,
left that team, and then the team that he built won 2 cups a couple years later. Like
yeah,
being a GM isn't a 1 year thing. It's building your team over 5, 6, 7, 8 years, right?
yeah. And sometimes over that span of time, you bring in a lot of players, you sign a lot of contracts, and you know further ahead.
especially if your name's Brad Treliving or Jay Feaster uh,
or
or Brian
yeah,
Burke.
yeah. Speaking of failures in our system.
Yeah.
So got a very a continuing of a slow start. We've got one game coming up on Saturday against the Kraken, and then we don't play again until Tuesday back home against the Nashville Predators. I tell you, it's been pretty sparse the games that we've had so far. Even though we played 10 games, right?
Yeah. I think
It's,
that those two games you just mentioned are winnable games. Like I don't I mean any game is winnable, but I don't when the Flames go in to play the Avalanche, I'm not really expecting them to win anymore. You know what I mean?
right.
But I think that the Kraken and the the Predators are in our echelon, our tier of teams in the NHL, which is um, maybe not bottom, but second bottom tier.
Opposed to where we are now being the second worst.
Yeah,
Yeah, Seattle has one more win than we do.
yeah. I don't think we're as bad as we've been playing, but I do think that my preseason uh, thoughts are probably not gonna happen. We're probably not gonna make the
No, it's not looking good.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like by December, I think we're gonna start seeing some changes.
I hope so. I feel like even in the next couple weeks, like before December hits, we're probably going to see one thing,
Mhm.
one big trade happen, and if one big trade helps, then they'll probably not do much else. But if it no, they'll probably do one big trade and then play a few games and see what happens, and then if it's still shit, then they'll make another one, right? Like
Yeah.
and they have enough time. It's not like the deadline's coming up anytime soon, right? So they got lots of time.
Yep, 100%.
Unless
100%.
guys start asking for trades and then it's fire sale.
I mean, I bet you there'll be a player or two that will approach Craig with the potential of removing no moves and no trades.
And
That's
I
my
was
thought
thinking
anyways.
about this the other day. Even though he's been in my books the best player on the team this entire season so far, and he has a no move trade or a no move clause, a no move trade. Um, I think that if Markstrom sees the opportunity to get on a team that's better for the rest of his contract, I feel like he would do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I don't
I
specifically want him to be traded, but I think that, that would be good, right? And then we'd have another exciting thing to watch. Whether Wolf is ready or not, we'd have an exciting thing to watch, which is Wolf
I
getting a
think
shot.
I think if the club is truly thinking about getting into, a retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it, I think now would be the time to put Wolf into a bunch of games and see what he can actually do at the NHL level
Exactly. If he's
while
a
you still
goalie
have
you can build
picks.
around, that's
Yeah,
great. But you got to know if he is.
you have to know
Yeah.
100% because I mean, what's going to happen is we'll end up drafting over the next year or two, and then Wolf finally gets his chance to lead the charge, and then you find out he's just not as good as we had hoped at the NHL level, or not saying that's going to happen, but you never know. Goalies are Goalies are weird that way.
Yep,
Mhm.
they sure are.
So, well, I think I mean that's a good recap of a single game. We've managed to eat some minutes there. That was good. I like it. So I think now's the time we're going to tell everybody to go ahead and like and share the show with your friends on YouTube and get us surrounding everybody in the social media world. If you wouldn't mind, smash that like button and follow Armchair GM _pod on X. Get
It's
him
right
on.
there. It's right there.
It is right there, and give it a follow on Facebook as well. You'll find us on anywhere you can get your podcast from, where it be Spotify, Apple, iHeart, whatever the case may be. We're always doing videos as well on YouTube, and we do appreciate the support we've had so far. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So,
And
until
please,
we,
it really helps a lot if you subscribe to our YouTube and comment with what you know what you think the Flames should do uh, in the next couple months here. It would really help us. So please do.
yeah, yeah, let's discuss it. Changes are coming, and we'll we can all fight through it together and come out the other side better for it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Until next time, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers.
We'll talk to you again. Go Flames.
Go Flames, go.